Hello
Yeah.
and welcome once again to everybody who's joining in today. We are very, very glad to have you all once again for yet another session. So, we host these bi weekly webinar series at Pragmatic. The reason being that we want businesses to understand what's really possible, how you can really scale, optimize, and you can really transform your business if you have the right tools and strategies and if you know how to implement the same. So today's topic is all about PLM, which is basically product life cycle management, and it's a very vital process for any growing business. So not all ERP solutions have these built-in PLM and ecosystems, and that is the reason it's very important to understand how a PLM guides a product's journey, like right from the beginning, from the start of the idea to the final delivery, and how ecos give you a complete structure to manage things clearly and much more efficiently. So that's what we are going to be exploring today, basically, and specifically with Odoo, because that's what we advocate. So we are going to explore how Odoo's PLM module is going to support this entire process, making it very simple, collaborative, and very effective. And at Pragmatic, we've had basically about 16 plus years of Odoo expertise, and we've helped businesses improve their PLM and change management strategies. And leading this session today is Yashas. He's our functional consultant and business analyst at Pragmatic. Welcome, Yashas. And he has worked closely with lots of clients to help Odoo PLM become a strategic advantage for their business. So thanks once again for joining in, and over to you, Yashas.
Thank you, Arva. Very good evening, everyone. So, as Arva rightly mentioned, today's webinar is all about how the product lifecycle management exclusively in Odoo takes place. So, when I say product lifecycle management, how, for example, we are considering a manufacturing entity exclusively or a trading entity who designs the product. That is the person who basically puts out and originates this product, where they will have the bill of materials, they will have the design documents to evolve this product into a new available thing into the market. They'll have some test transactions, they'll have various levels of testing approvals and other things. Only after that a product gets released, and once the product gets released, if there are any version changes, how does that happen? So this is something called as a product lifecycle management, starting from a design idea to making it an actual product which can be sold, which can be evaluated on, and which can be used. So that's what is a PLM, a product lifecycle management, and we are going to see how it is done in Odoo. So let's start with it. So basically, what we have collected the information is where most of the production engineers, at least one third of the production engineers and the design engineers lose most of their time, at least one third of their time, to non-value work. When I say non-value work, it's mostly into looking into the bill of material documents, looking into the audit documents, looking into the whole documentation work, which is siloed or which is not related to each other, which becomes unrelated, even though it speaks about the same product. When I say unrelated, usually the flow is the design team creates the product design. It could be a simulation of multiple products, or it could be just a one single product design. So the design team puts that out, and I mean, first of all, the sales team gives them the requirement from the market. This is what is the customer expectation, this is what is the market problems that we can solve with this product, and this is how we can scale up our business. So that's the initial this thing. From that, looking into the customer feedback and looking into the market requirements, first of all, the design team puts it out. And once the design team puts out this design, they'll put out a trial production, which will then be evaluated by the quality team. Only when this process is iterated to such an extent where it can be a full-fledged product, it will be released to the market. So this can happen. The designing, production, and quality can happen several cycles until the product becomes very stable. But where are these changes documented? Because for a production engineer or for a design engineer, having a very clear communication with three different people, that is design, production, and quality, is very, very important. And also, yes, from the after sales and the pre-sales, where we get to know what is the accuracy of the product, how is the feedback from the market, and all these things. So having wrong BoMs or changing the versions of the bill of materials without any proper documentation, will eventually end up in somewhere we ending up in generating scrap, or we doing the reworks once again and again. And sometimes even with the established products, because of an unaudited change in the bill of material, can end up having some product defaults which will be faced by the customer, because of which there will be a lot of complaints, there can be a lot of rollbacks, and then an unsatisfied customer. And also, as I said, this I mean, especially for an established company, all this is also part of an audit. That is the how the process audit will be, especially with respect to ISO and other aspects, where they expect each and every process of this design and each and every process of this whole product lifecycle management should be documented. And most importantly, as I said, the team silos, where if the team doesn't, I mean, if all the teams starting from pre-sales to design to manufacturing, quality, and then again the after sales, if especially the three teams in the middle, that is the design, production, and the quality team, if these three teams do not work in sync with one product, I mean, taking example as one product, designing the product, manufacturing, and testing, and then again if there is any change, make change in the design, if these three do not work, and if they work exclusively of silos, it's going to be a lot of manual work, and most importantly, they might end up making mistakes. So that's what we put it out, I mean, the focus for today. So how to make these ECOs, we call it as the ECO, that is engineering change order, is what it is called. How can we make these ECOs your competitive advantage, especially with respect to production industries, the manufacturing industries, using Odoo PLM, is what we're going to see. So the today's agenda is basically what are ECOs, what exactly means this ECO, what are the four silent killers of unmanaged change. That is, if at all we don't have any process in place to capture these processes which I explained, that is pre-sales, the design, the manufacturing, the quality, and then the after sales, or the multiple iterations. If at all we don't control the version changes, the BoM changes, who approves it, and everything, what can it cause, what damage can it cause, and then what is the solution? That is nothing but the Odoo PLM. I mean, PLM module within Odoo. How it can structure the whole process, how it can be done quick, and how the traceability will be available. And most importantly, we'll also check a scenario where, for example, kind of a case study where how a handlebar can be redesigned using these process. And finally, we are now in with the Odoo version 18.4, which is the very latest version updated by Odoo. What's new in that with respect to PLM model? And finally, we'll say how your roadmap to ECO mastery can be done. That is basically what are the necessary steps that you need to take in these PLM module so that you can achieve the best ROI out of the PLM model. So let's start with it. Let's understand what is exactly a ECO. So let us unravel the whole this thing. So where let's demystify and get to know that the ECO is something called as I said, the engineering change order. In simple terms, it's like, I mean, it's like a control switch for a change. What do I mean by that? Now, for example, I have a product which has to be developed afresh. As I said, we will say what has to be developed, why it has to be developed, who develops it, when do they develop it. This is one side. On the other hand, if there is already a product which has a bill of material of its own, which is we manufacture, we already have a set design, our team is manufacturing it, and the quality is all good. Now, suddenly there is a change from the market. That is, there is a demand from the market to bring a change in this product. Now, we cannot change the existing this thing itself. We will make a new version of the existing bill of material. So what change has to be brought in, why there needs to be a change, who does this change, and when this has to be changed, and obviously how it has to be changed. All this is nothing but a life cycle of a product. So identify the product, that identify the change. Basically, someone would have, and also we request for the new change to happen, and that's when we will call it as an ECO. This thing document is generated. That is, engineering change order is generated. People will review it and approve it, and that's when it gets to actual implementation. And finally, we close the ECO. That is, the engineering change order will close. So the questions of what, why, who, and when will be answered with one ECO for any particular product. So that's the life cycle of a product which we are meaning. And then, as I said, for an existing product with multiple bill of materials, you can see on the screen we have given a very small screenshot from Odoo itself, where it says how many number of ECOs have been done on this. That is, for a particular bill of materials, how many different engineering change orders have been done, how many versions it has been changed for, so that the latest version is available for the change. So that is what means as the I mean, in this screenshot. Going further, what happens? I mean, you might ask me the question, what if I don't want to have this ECO in place? Let me not have this anything in place. Let me maintain manual processes where we change the BoMs accordingly. I mean, we maintain Excels, we maintain the emails, and we maintain verbal communications, and we maintain all these things. Yes, can be done, but still, problem is if at all there is a BoM change. For example, someone we there is probably a quality mistake, or basically there is a quality mismatch. I wouldn't say mistake, a quality mismatch, and the production head asked to change the bill of material, especially in the small and medium scale enterprises where all these communications are verbal. If there can be a BoM change, nobody knows when it was changed, on whose terms it was changed, and what exactly will it give an accurate result or not. Nobody knows. So this creates BoM chaos. Like, for example, with this change in BoM, they created a new product. Even that went terribly wrong. Nobody would take up the ownership or accountability. So it asked for rework or scrapping the whole product, which is in turn waste of time, waste of money, and waste of, I mean, it wastes everybody's efforts. And that is one of the things where ECOs matter. And then, for example, if there is a change, someone mentioned that yes, there has to be a BoM change or a product level change. Who approved it? I mean, getting this process itself, that is someone writing an email or getting a permission from another supervisor or the product head or the sales head, these approval creates bottlenecks, especially if it's not channelized. And this will eventually delay my product launch or the new product versions. And then, most importantly, for audits, as I mentioned, if there is no process, I cannot audit it. Because if the same product in 2 years have been manufactured with different BoMs, and if we do not maintain any record which BoM I mean ended up in which product, I mean which product got manufactured from which BoM, who approved it, what were the different changes made in those, we will not be able to tell end of the end of the day or end of the year. If at all we want to do an audit, we'll never be able to tell that this product 1 year ago was very good or it had some complaints, but using which BoM it was manufactured, nobody knows, because there is no trial of it. That is, there is no documentation for it. And most importantly, without ECOs, as I said, it's the cross team disconnect. This is one of the most important aspects, where there will be a complete siloed work rather than integrated work. That is, design team puts out the design, or they make the changes in the BoM. The manufacturing team does the production and checks the quality. I mean, the quality team checks for it. The manufacturing team records all the parameters during the production. So three teams have to work together so that on one single aspect called as a BoM change or a design change, which will eventually end up in having good sales and eventually end up in having scalability of the business. So studies also show that change orders often add 5 to 15% of the project costs. So that means if at all we do not have this documentation clearly, we are actually spending more cost and effort for unnecessary reasons. So, I mean, we can save so much of the cost and time with proper documentation, especially with a very good tool called, with a very good tool, Odoo. So let's go and look into why these things matter. First is, most importantly, with engineering change orders, we can cut the rework. That is, basically we can see that if at all I'm creating the engineering change order, I can have different stages of it. That is, first, the screenshot here has only 3 stages: new, in progress, and validated. But any organization can have its own number of stages. That is, first, a design is created, and then documentation is attached, then it goes for design approval, then it becomes manufacturing in progress, and then it completes the production, then it goes to the quality check, and then it becomes validated. So it can have as many stages as possible, and in each and every stage we can have approvals. That is what it means. By doing this, a lot of manual work which is done outside the system can be cut short. And most importantly, as I said, I mentioned earlier also, one document will serve for multiple approvals. That is, who approve this particular ECO. That is, by the end of the ECO getting released into, the engineering change order getting released as a new product or validated as a new bill of material, we can have so many approvals within the same ECO itself. One, here in the screenshot, you can see the CTO makes the changes, approves it. The quality team makes the approval. Even the marketing team gets to have an approval. So this is again configurable within Odoo, where as many approvals we can configure. And most importantly, as I said, the audit purposes, where each and everything will clearly, each and every ECO, that is the engineering change order, you can see over here on the screenshot itself, it's the reinforced chair leg, where that's the ECO name, and the bill of material it's working on a product called stool. who is responsible for it, which stage, I mean, whether it is effective or still being validated, and on what date it was validated from, that is the effective date, so that it will clearly serve for auditing purposes. When did we make this change, who made this change, and who approved it, when was it made effective, so that you will have, if at all this tool as a product has multiple versions of the BoMs, you can clearly get to know when each version was released, when were they made effective, who did the approvals, and who worked on this. All this will be available over here itself. And as I said, it will serve as one source of truth for all the teams. That is, every team works on the one ECO in different stages. That's how it's going to be made available. So I mean, nonetheless, as I always mention, this one yeah, PLM model in Odoo serves for every industry and serve for any types of products. It could be electronics, it could be for automotive, it could be for aerospace, even for softwares. It can be made useful. For example, you can see over here, if there is a firmware update to be done, or I mean, example over here is the four boxes that you are seeing over there. I mean, we call it as a Kanban view, where it's showing the Kanban card over there, where new product introduction is one Kanban card, the component change is another Kanban card, within which they can have multiple ECOs. So each and everything is logged over there. For example, if there is a new product introduction and two ECOs are available over there, it could be QA issues, it could be the manufacturing issues, or it could be the marketing issues, or anyone who has an issue can be recorded within the ECO before it gets officially released as a product. So it will be very well documented. People will be attaching documents over there if there is any design changes. Especially the design team will record all their documents and attach it in within the ECO itself, so that anytime later also it will be visible for any scrutiny or for references. And most importantly, as I said, the unmanaged change, which I mentioned earlier also, the unmanaged change orders commonly drive 5 to 15% cost overruns. We can, so it means to say that with a proper channelized way of using product lifecycle management module or the tool in Odoo, we can channelize these design changes or the bill of material changes, where everything is documented, approved, and then released as a new versions and things. Going further, as I said, we propose for the Odoo PLM model, which has all-in-one control, which has bill of materials, which has versions, which has approvals, which can be, I mean, which has documentations and everything. So what happens, this works as a centralized structure for having all the BOMs over here, and for each and every BOMs I can have different documentations, that is the design documents attached, and each and every ECO bill of material can be put out with the ECO, that is engineering change order. When I say each and every BOM, a new version of the BOM. And then, as I said, the structured workflows. Who does the approvals? What stage after what stage? That is, in the design itself, there could be 3 stages. In manufacturing itself, there could be 2 stages. And in the quality, there can be multiple stages. So all this can be put out within an ECO. And then, as I said, I mean, I mentioned this time and again, it is purely audit compliant, where everything is recorded, everything is documented. And for example, if a particular bill of material has, I mean, if a particular product has 4 bill of materials, out of which one of them is active now, we can also see when were the other 3 archived. That is archived in the sense, when the recent bill of material was approved, the previous one gets archived. When was that done? Who approved that change order? Was there a change order in the first place? How many levels of stages it went through for getting updated? When was it effective? All this will be available for any auditing purposes. So we'll quickly show what are the different changes, I mean, configurations that will be required. So as I said, in the PLM overview, PLM is basically short form of product lifecycle management. This is the module in Odoo, where the moment we open this page, it will show the different types of ECO. That is what we call, that is, as I said, it can have multiple, I mean, the product need not be given rise. There can be new product introduction, which is a purely new product. Component change is usually, or the product improvement is usually for an existing product that is already a bill of material is available, where I need to do a component change or I need to improve the product. That can also be taken up. Or if there are any softwares or something like that, we can even take up the firmware update as well. Or even for devices which has the operating softwares where we need to change that, all those comes under firmware updates. Again, these can be configurable. I mean, these can be configured. So these Kanban cards that you are able to see on the screen are pure configurable. It's not strict that you have to have these 4 different things. You can have 10 different things, or you can even have only 2 different types of ECO in your organization. and then comes with an ECO. I mean, this is the screenshot that you are able to see is the actual ECO that you are able to see over here. For example, you can see this is an engineering change order which will define all the approvers and the approvals. And you can see, I mean, for example, this has a number ECO 0030, which has table finish improvements. That is, they are working on a table. That is a wooden table or a iron table, metal table, where they have so much of approvals, who approved by, when was the approved date, what was the approval stage, and everything. And you can even see the versions on the top and also the documents on the top, which will say that these are the design documents I can attach, and also these many revisions it has undergone. That's what it says. We will, I mean, it's very clear and visible over here. And also you can see the update version and the effective. What does this mean? Once this becomes effective, that is going on with further stages in progress and validated, once it goes to the effective stage, this bill of material, whatever the version of bill of material that we have maintained in this ECO, will become the main bill of material, and the previous one will get archived. And also it shows the version number, what is the recent version number that we are working on. And then, as I said, the same version number will also be available in the bill of material as well. This screenshot is from the bill of material masters, which says what is the present BOM, that is a present version this BOM is. And also it will show how many ECOs have been done in a single bill of material. If you, once the ECO is completed, that is an engineering change order for a bill of material is validated. If you go to the ECO also, there will be the reference of the bill of material. If you go to the bill of material also, there will be the reference of the ECO, that is the engineering change order. You can see over here as well. This is the ECO again, where it says what documents and what are the versions available, who did it, all the things will be available as documents and also the versions. This is the bill of material screen which I was mentioning, as I said, for the reporting and traceability, where it will clearly show how many ECOs were done. And the previous screenshot which I showed, which version is the present one, and when was it made effective, all these things will be available. Who made the changes, approvals, and all these aspects. So basically, the full history of a product will be visible for you in a documented manner. That's the most important part. Now let's quickly see what is available in Odoo 18.4 that is new this thing. So basically we have the place where we can undo the reschedules. We can choose to have the buffer times on dependencies. And then we can use the AI powered fields to reduce the admin drag. And most importantly, as I said, the documents. Where in the ECO itself you can attach the design documents and all these aspects, so that you can even use this. I mean, we can even integrate the sign module as well, where if you want to have a signature in these documents, we can make use of that in the ECO. Going further to the use case, where the BikeCo case, where we have put out, for example, engineering Sarah opens an ECO where she wants to have a product this thing, that is the introduction, where she takes up the type as ECO type as product introduction, new product introduction, where she wants to improvise the handlebar, ergonomics of the handlebar. She picks up a product called keyboard, and then basically, I mean, within the handlebar, and then they want to introduce a new product. I mean, they onto the keyboard itself, they want to introduce a new key or a new new design, where you can see over here what product they want to make the change and what is the bill of material they want to make the change. You can see the effective date. When was it? When will it be made effective? Approvals will all be here. BOM changes will be recorded over here. On the top, in the previous screenshots I showed, you can even record the design documents over there and how many versions it went through an approval. That will also be available. So basically, as I said, it goes to it takes the verification stages, where each and every stage gets approved by different teams. And then most importantly, as and when the changes get once the ECO get approved, it will be notified to the production team as well, saying that a new bill of material is available. The previous bill of material gets archived, and for any further manufacturing orders, the new bill of material will be considered. That's how it goes. So as I said, again, with this case study, what can you improve? Or with the whole ECO, basically you will get to know who changed what, when, and why. For all the audit purposes. And also you don't have to worry about having duplicate bill of materials. If once the ECO has been effective, the old bill of material gets archived and only the new one will be effective from the effective date. And also most importantly, what does this mean? I mean, with all these ECOs and the changes and the what, why, and when answered, this means fewer post-launch corrections. That is, we don't have to worry about changes after the launching of the product. Then, okay, I did not record this. We should have done the quality check. We should have checked the design and everything, because each and everything is now documented, so that uh, they get to know that it was, I mean, with this particular case study, they had a clear ergonomics feedback loop as well. So finally, we are now here with respect to how do you as an organization should take up with this engineering change orders with PLM model in Odoo. So what we would suggest is, first, have a clear audit and the workflows in place. That is, if you are introducing a new product or if you are doing a change in the bill of material, please identify the steps. That is, who will do the initiate this first step of, yes, there needs to be a change. Then what is the second step? How does the change to be made? How this has to be documented? Who recommends the changes? Who approves the changes? Finally, how it gets rolled out. So if this workflow is then put out, I mean, if it's first agreed and everybody, I mean, in the management team, everybody agrees for it, we can then configure this as the types and stages. That is, what are the different types of ECO that you want to put out? What are the different stages it goes? Who approves what stage? And everything can be put out. And then you can have some pilot runs, at least for one product and two products, for one or two bill of material changes. And then once it clearly works out for you, you can roll out for all the products and all the bill of materials. And then you can train your team and scale up across all the teams. As I said, it need not be exclusively for manufacturing. It can even be for even a software industry as well. So because of which it can be rolled out for any other team as well. So with that, what we say, I mean, that concludes the whole ECO part. And we say, I mean, every change is a chance to lead. So don't let the changes in the product or in the bill of material to derail the growth. Instead, it should, I mean, we propose to structure it, trace it, and master it. So that's what we are here for from Pragmatic. We help you to not just manage the ECOs, but we help you to master them. So that is all about the ECO. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you so much, Yashas. Wonderful insights once again. And thanks everybody for spending your time with us. It's always a pleasure to share these sessions and, empower everybody who joins in with the knowledge that we have gained over these years. And there are lots of practical ideas that Yashas has given. However, if there are any questions, please do feel free to put it across in the chat box, or you can also unmute and you can just ask if you have any queries. Thank you so much.